The first is they disagreed about which chemo drugs to use. Now, because I decided to forgo chemo, I didn't have the conversation with my doctor about what my cost would be and was there a different cost for each different option, and why did he suggest one treatment over another? Was that combination chosen best for me, or was it just because he made the most money? I have had since conversations with my oncologist who's upset that his ability to charge extra on chemo drugs might be impaired. One of the biggest differences between my two cancer experiences was this second time. I felt like a walking dollar sign. I had surgeons calling me up and trying to solicit my business. Now, I had decided to have my surgery at UCLA, which is a 3-hour drive. Now, in California, we don't talk miles. We talk how long it takes you to get there, and that's without traffic. But that was the best option for me, and I had one surgeon call me up, and he said, "That's a terrible decision. You won't be able to get any care. If anything happens after your follow-up, you'll have to drive the 3 hours to get there." Now, I'm sure that he had me on mute while I was talking because I was trying to explain to him that I had already talked to a plastic surgeon who had did my previous reconstruction, who she actually suggested that I go to UCLA and she would do my follow-up care. As long as someone is making money off of my care, how do I really know that they're looking out for my best interests? There shouldn't be a conflict of interest between the patient and their doctor or hospital. Healthcare needs to be centered around the best needs of the patient and not someone's bottom line. Second point, part of the problem with insurance companies is having narrow networks. So getting a second opinion might be just like my oncologist did, is getting a second opinion from the same doctor within the same practice, a different doctor within the same practice. Or even worse yet, getting a second opinion from their competitor down the street. So you've got two oncologists competing for your business. That's not a true second opinion. Now, I had told my oncologist that I wanted to get my second opinion at UCLA, and I did. I drove the 3 hours there, and I told him specifically, I am not getting my treatment here. I want to discuss not having chemo. Is that a valid option? Which I had been given that option 23 years prior, so I did realize it was an option. With my current insurance, I'm not even sure I would have that option. My list of oncologists is very small, and I live in a very small community, 3 hours from Los Angeles, and so there's not a lot of options about that. And I know that my decision to go to UCLA to have my surgery probably would not be approved today. One of the factors that made the biggest difference in the healing experience between my two experiences was the emotional support that I got from Gilda's Club, which is part of the cancer support community. Now, in 1987, there weren't group supports. And I was a basket case, and my oncologist saw that, and he did refer me to a therapist. And I have to say, she was a great therapist, and she did help me deal with some issues. But she didn't have the experience to deal with the special needs of a cancer patient, especially someone so young who's facing, oh my God, I might die. So I didn't really get the kind of support that I needed. And even because I was seeing a therapist, it still took me 5 years to dig out of the hole that I'd sunk into with depression. So with my reoccurrence, the first thing I did is I joined Gilda's Club. I had known about it because of my work with the American Cancer Society, and I even started going before I had surgery. And I knew that emotional support was so vital, and I was right. I breezed through all of my surgeries. My doctor calls me a model patient. I just knew I was going to have the best possible outcome because been there, done that. But I was still a basket case. But through the help of Gilda's Club, I was actually able to resolve some of the issues that had been lingering for 23 years from the first time I had cancer. Now, most people think that when treatment is over, life goes back to normal. Let me tell you, it never goes back to normal. Life is forever divided into BC, AC, before and after cancer. Now, I had read a paper once, and it said that the cancer experience is actually divided into 3 separate parts. And the first part is while you're going through treatment, and I call that the fighter part. You're actively fighting the cancer. And you are getting your PhD in what it means to be a cancer patient and all your different options. And you're like the deer in the headlights, like, oh my God, how can I grasp all of the stuff that's going on? And you actually really do live in the moment. You live in today. So it's like, what's going on today? Do I have a doctor's appointment? Am I having radiation? Am I getting chemo? How do I feel? Am I nauseated? Do I have enough medication in the house? Do I have food in the refrigerator? Can I even get out of bed today? You know, people would ask me, what can I do to help? And I'd say, hey, clean my house. And they thought I was joking. And I said, no, I can't even push a vacuum cleaner. Please clean my house. Now, I did have someone who went grocery shopping for me, which was a godsend because there were times I could not get out of bed and I had no food in the house. This stage is the most expensive part because this is why you're going through treatment. And the bills don't start coming in right away. And this is when a cancer patient is least likely to be able to handle the overload from stress with also the financial problems. It's the least time when you should be asking them to choose between treatment A and treatment B and trying to take the costs involved. You're trying to save your life, and it's like, doctor, just save my life. I don't care what it costs.